And welcome. My name is Great One Ayi Lara, and today we are talking about how single mothers aid and abet, or let me say, how single mothers passively allow their daughters to be molested, to be abused, psychologically, emotionally, sexually, most especially. Now, it's going to be very brief and quick. It is only for those who have this obligation mindset that my children must turn out well, at least more than I do. Now, no one is blaming you that you got either pregnant outside wedlock or saying that it is a disease having a child at all. But one thing you must know, and I honestly wish that all the young ladies, teenagers are listening to me right now. One thing you must know is this: the trauma and the consequences of either early pregnancy, failed marriage, or let me say, single motherhood, baby mama, as the craze is going around the world now. It's not only going to affect you, it's also going to affect the child involved. Okay, what if today you feel that baby mamahood is trending and you also just want to have a child, no husband, and tomorrow you begin to crave for companionship, attention, you know, you will hopefully want to get married. But what is the tendency? Or let me say, what is the certainty or surety that the one you will end up with would love your child as his own? Now, accepting your child as his own comes in two phases or two categories. The first stage of accepting your child as his own is to accept that a child is going to be in this marriage with us or with him. The second stage of acceptance is that this child will now be fathered by me or by him as he would father his own biological children. There is no point in lying. Most times, even the children that you bring into the new marriage or this child you are bringing into your marriage, most times actually knows that this is not my father. And you must give credit to any man in the world out there who is willing to father your child for you or with you. The most painful thing is to open first your physical arm to a child and then your emotional arm to a child just for the child to grow up, and because of the law of the land, for the biological father of that child to show up and then having no ability to restrain the child from either going with the biological father or doing her or his duty on that biological father. One of the most painful things for most people, and that's why they really do not want to settle down for a woman who already have a child before. The law of the land does not permit you to personalize or monopolize a child that is not biologically yours. And you never can tell while you're getting married to this woman. She might have so much hatred or wanting to distance herself from her husband or the father of her baby. But maturity, remember, evolution of action for a seeker, she might come to realize that unforgiveness only affects one person and it's the person who refused to give it. So she might want to be receptive and tolerant in the later years. It's okay. He's still the father of my child. Why can't I allow my child to see him or something? So the law of the land want them or requires that the child pays, if the child is willing, pays our obligation, his obligation on the real father, which is the biological father. So the realization of the fact that at the end of the day, I'm going to send this child to school, nurse this child as my own, introduce this child to everybody, and at the end of the day, having gone through a phase of people stigmatizing this man, saying he's just nursing another man's baby, for whatever they say to come to reality at the end of the day, and the child is saying, after all, it's my biological father, and all of those things sometimes make men want to go crazy. But that aside, you as a single mother must realize that the moment you bring a child into this world, either by means of rape, consensual sex, teenage exuberance, and all of that, your number one loyalty and priority is that child you brought into the world. And as you would treat a child you brought into the world outside wedlock, you must also treat a child you brought into the world inside wedlock like that. So, no child, however, should crave for your attention before you give it, especially a child whose other parent is not around, especially a child you are bringing into the marriage. So people are going to talk and say, is it because your first child or your set of first children and all that? See, you don't need to listen to them at that moment because those children are vulnerable, defenseless, and are susceptible to all kinds of abuse. They are already losing out on the joy of growing up with their own biological father. You must, even though you are giving them another stepfather, a father who is stepping up, you must still retain your alertness to also be a part-time father to them subtly and be an active mother to them loudly. And whenever time you see them sad or they say they want to talk to you about a thing, drop the whole word and focus on them. I repeat, drop the whole word and focus on them. Whenever your child begin to look at you without saying a word, whenever they start gazing on the sky, whenever they begin to become lost in their own body, whenever they begin to slow down or become overactive, they are calling for your attention. I was reading online the other day and it was established that a child will never be able to tell you that I am anxious or I'm feeling anxiety in me, but they will tell you they're having stomach ache or their stomach hurt. Children have different ways of communicating to us. And you must understand that you are less emotionally sensitive compared to these children. Number one, they are already in a spot they don't want to be. It is abnormal setting for them to be calling someone who is not their biological father daddy. Possibly one or two of the relative of this man might be reminding them that you do not belong in our home. Another possibility is that this child will not be able to change his or her name to the name of this new man that you are getting married to. So, how does it work for you psychologically that you are in a family? They say, this is your dad, this is your mom. The rest of your siblings are bearing the name of your so called father, and only you are bearing a different name. Now, there's a lot for them to cope with. Now, you must condescend. If you are a single mother, condescend. Come to the fact that you have brought up this child into a situation that she never wanted. So, if she's not reminded actively, she's also being reminded passively by the name she bears. And except the other father is saying, I give up on this child and all that, it is not lawful for the stepfather to legally adopt this child and say, no, I don't want to bear your name, except maybe somehow you guys come into a concept. So, as a single mother, bringing your child into another relationship, it could be a partnership, civil relationship, it could be marital relationship, or whatever it may be. It is the onus lie on you to be overactive. Overactive. Why do I say you need to be overactive? Let me open a can of worms to you. Women out there, listen to me. When a man sees you for the first time and fall in love with you, somehow there is a part of your youthfulness while you were young that this man fell in love with. The example I'm sharing with you now, I'm sharing it from the angle of a man you married legally. There is no child between you yet. You often wonder why old women and old men who are well of age still try to call themselves by name, try to play around, try to kiss each other. It is because only you are seeing the wrinkling on their faces. Only you are seeing them as aged. A person retained the image he first saw of you the first time they met you. Most times, a responsible man will only store the first thing he saw with you, how he sees you first, in his mind. Even while you are aging, he did not see you or is not seeing you as aging. He retained that picture of while you were young. So you now have a child, for this man, a daughter, a baby child, a baby girl. There are three different stages of a female child's life. It's a stage where she's completely a child from age 0 to age 12, completely a child to her father. From age 12, while she's entering into puberty to age 20 or 21, she's your rival. Why do I say? I say she's your rival in all forms of responsibility because now, if this child happens to look exactly like you, the mother, this child start reminding this father of us or this man of how you look when you were young. She's forming breast now. She's growing more flesh in her buttocks. She's becoming just what this man foresaw the first time he saw it. Lucky you, you're married to a man who is a father in all ramifications and whose sexuality is in place. So he would not sexualize your child. Unluckily, you married a man who sees everything with a hole as good enough to sleep with. This is the biological father of this child. There is every tendency when you marry a promiscuous man, especially when he's given to drinking alcohol, ingesting chemical. Tendency is there that one day you will not be at home and this man will molest your child. I'm talking about his biological child. Tendencies. You come to that reality, it is good for you and it is better if you come to it earlier. As a way of fighting it for some men, you realize that they are harsh unnecessarily on their female children at that age. They, in a process or in the bid to create a wall in order not to mess themselves up with their child, create some kind of hatred, thick one for this child. The sight of this child, they don't want to behold. Okay, this is my daughter. She should be able to roam around free. I was raised in a home where all of us can be naked. My mother, my sisters, my brother, we can be naked. We talk to ourselves like it is normal. We were trained like that from up. So you can come to me and say you want to seduce me and you are naked. If I am not emotionally attached to you or attracted to you, you are deceiving yourself. It was a kind of training. It could boomerang in some home, but it worked well for us. Now, this man, in order not to mess up with his own child, begin to now put up unnecessary hatred, becoming too harsh on this daughter, just to make sure that he fight his own lust within him. Biological daughter. Compare it to now the fact that this is not his biological daughter. No blood relation. The only relation between him and the child is you, the mother, who is not related to him also by blood. And having so those tendency of being promiscuous and also highly given to substance abuse or just uneducated, unexposed. Especially those men that doesn't have a job, who are mostly idle, and see the risk you are exposing your daughter to. So this is not a way to now discourage you from settling down again, finding love again, but then it does not end at finding love. How do you protect your own daughter from the love you have found? There are responsible men out there who will never think, imagine, or even try to go near all of these things that we are saying, but then they are not much. We've seen daughters being molested by their stepfather, who is even a clergyman. That is not the case today. The case is this: you can passively aid and abet the abuse on your girl child by giving them an irresponsible stepfather whom you have not known in and out, whose weaknesses you have not tested. You can also passively aid and abet abuse on your daughter by not creating that sense of friendship between you and them. Most of the children that have been abused at a young age hate their mother today because even though they could not tell their mother what is exactly happened, they wish and hope or they expect that since you are my mother, you should notice what is wrong with me. Why are you not asking me questions? Even if it does not happen, the moment you become paranoid or it calls your mind, call your child and ask them, you can talk to me. You're my baby. I have your back and I love you. And I will kill the greatest giant of the world because of you. Has anyone started touching you? This is not something you say to her in a day and you expect her to believe if you have been harsh on her all this while. But then I realized from my counseling experience with most women who are abused by their stepfather, by people while they were young age, that the mother, because she's running away from the stigma of either remaining unmarried or for people saying, okay, you don't marry this one, you don't leave her again. They constantly, even while knowing such a thing is happening, stay put in such union or marriage. It is never a thing wrong during your courtship with this man that will be the father of your child to tell him point blank, if you mess with my child sexually, I kill you. That's all. Let him be aware ahead of time. You see, a responsible man will laugh and tell you, calm down, she's my child also. But at the back of his mind, even if the devil that want to use him has not been created or manufactured, whenever it crosses his mind, he gather himself up. And when a man react negatively to that, why are you insulting me? Why you do this? Now them, run, no. Just like it is never a wrong thing for you to tell a woman during your courtship that before I take a child home as mine, we will conduct DNA test. If they say, why not? That shows they have nothing to hide. But when she begins to take offense on it, please run, no. The world is black and white. If it is not black, it is white. So it's either you have intention or have probability of making it happen, so you have been caught ahead, so you react. Or you don't have it at the back of your mind and you just laugh it off. So single mothers out there, your loyalty first is to your child. Now, I'm not saying you should neglect your husband and focus on your daughter. I am not saying you should not now give the man what is due him as your spouse. But when it comes to this one says this to me, this one is doing this, First, put consideration in believing your daughter over anybody. A child you trained up well will not manufacture lies against someone, especially when this child accepted this man out of no choice or by choice and said, be my father. All of a sudden, she now begin to, miracles don't happen that way. Children don't just switch child that way and manufacture such a lie as much as except they have been introduced to it or they will not be able to give you a recount of it. Surely you have been alive a long while before them. You must know how the trauma of sexual molestation is. Another thing I've come to realize is this: parents who are not so educated or who are timid, having lack of self-esteem, would rather their child, girl child, suffer the consequences of their decision with them in that home than working out. And it happens mostly to women who does not have financial independence. Nothing keeps a woman more in an abusive marriage than financial independence. Because they begin to think, where do I start from? Who do I go to? And all of those things. See, the world is changing. There's an evolvement. The evolution is the case that even single men are now begging single mothers and say, please marry me. Why? Because single mothers are beginning to create a niche for themselves that come. Now, picking I born, no be disease. This is a child, not another ailment. You either accept that this is a human like yourself, or you get whatever it is out of my life. So it depends on how you now present yourself to the man coming to meet you that will make him now say, this is how I'm going to treat this woman and the children or the child she's bringing into. But wait for a second. Most of you were trained up in a home where this is your biological father, this is your biological mother, and right before your biological mother, your father is abusing you emotionally and in all aspects of life, and your mother is saying nothing, thinking that this is the way life should go. So when you find yourself in such a situation, you repeat the same error and mistake on your child also. Passive allowance of abuse on these children. Friendship is needed. The most cogent form of relationship you could have with any human being in the world is that you have friendship relationship with the one you call my child. And I must tell you with all sense of responsibility, female children need more protection than male children, even though they both deserve to be protected. Of course, people are abusing male children, but when it comes to female children, the society, either home or abroad, the society just look at them as a weakling, something that can be used, something that has no defense, something that was created as a menu on a card in a restaurant. And the more we expose our girl child to this kind of lifestyle, not standing up for them when they need us the most, the more of and the more we expose our girl child to this kind of lifestyle, not standing up for them when they need us the most, the more of So the moment you allow love to enter your head to the point where you believe a man over your own child, you have lost it. And the first time you try it is all the time you need, because the children now begin to distrust you. I'm telling you, you have no reason staying with a man who molests your child, who abuses your child, who sees your child as a potential rival, active rival, or someone that is not his. You have no business staying with such a man. As a matter of fact, the first day he tried to make it known, either by word or by action, that this child is not mine, that day you leave the house. I'm telling you the truth. The moment you permit it once, the man will build on it forever. And it might take a while before you emancipate yourself from that kind of relationship at the expense of your children. Yeah, it is in a subconscious that this child is not mine. But don't rub it on my face. Why? Because you saw me before you came to give a proposal that you want to step up as the child, as the father of this child. So what changed? Are you loving my child to have sex with me? Are you loving my child so that I can produce a type for you? Are you loving my child so that you can have someone to cook your food, wash your clothes, keep your home? If my child is just a tool or a medium of getting to me, we have no relationship at all. And many men out there, this is what they do. They shower so much attention, love, gift on your child while still dating you because they know without the child, they might not be able to have you. The moment you come into their home, I've seen a lot of cases, heard a lot of cases where a man will promise heaven and hell, of course. So this woman said, no, she's a child also and all that. And immediately they get married, say, send this child away, send this child away. The first, do not give, you are not God. Don't give second chance to any man who will as much as open his mouth to tell you to take your child away from. That is not a global concept of fatherhood. You need to marry someone, settle with someone whose fatherhood concept and perception is global. It's not just local. My biological children alone, you can't afford it. It has to be global. It has to be global. I've seen children who were trained up with by their stepfather, and you will never be able to detect. I've seen children who were well treated by their stepfather, and now they are the main course meal of the home, the main breadwinner. You will never know. And I'm using this opportunity to also talk to all the men out there that if truly you understand the concept of love, love is not only given to those that came out of your loins, love is universal. If you dearly want to be part of someone's life, it should not matter if they come out of you or they come outside of you. Love should be shared equally. And please, if you don't have control over your sexuality, you will be tempted both home and abroad, inside your house and outside, sometimes by your own children. Before you begin to say it's the devil's work, I'm telling you, work on yourself before the devil will work on you. And we live in a society these days that you cannot be forgiven. When you mess with a child, you go down for it. And I'm using this medium to tell all the mothers in the world, right here, who have a child molested, please report duly. If they don't take it lightly, or if they are taking it lightly where you report, please escalate. Social media is there for you. You know what you're doing for that child? You are redeeming the self-esteem of that child back then. Don't say, okay, what will happen in the future when people get to know? No, the future is most brighter for a rape victim, a sexual abuse victim, whose culprit or whose perpetrator or whose oppressor was given justice or was put to justice on time. You redeem their self-esteem back. You don't want to wait till your child is in a husband's house before telling you that my stepfather abused me, my uncle abused me, his relative abused me, people in the neighborhood abused me. It would have taken so much root. And even though you subject this kind of woman to so many counseling and all that, it has formed a permanent scar in them. And irrespective of when your child decides to speak out, always listen to them, irrespective of when. It can take a while before they speak out. That is your failure as a mother. If something happened to your child today and your child takes it to you tomorrow before telling you, know that you're already failing as a mother because there is no friendship between you and this child. You are the first respondent. You are the first reporting station for every child you have. And while trying to show love, standing up to make up for the child you brought into your marriage, do not also neglect the children you are bringing up in your marriage. Remember what I told you about men and their female children, especially when they start looking like you when they first saw you. Doesn't happen to all men like that, but most men struggle with this. Some escape it until maybe the child now bring a boy home, and that's why you see so much rivalry between the man and even the fiancé of the girl or their spouse for no just reason. It's just it. It's just it. So this is all I have for you today. I wish I could say more, but I don't want to take your time. You go home, do your homework. I've given some tips. Be your child's friend, not at the detriment of your husband. Be your husband's lover, not at the detriment of your child. This is for the few who hope to raise children who are seekers, who are intelligent, who have self confidence, children that are not broken, children that can give more to the continuity of humanity. It's not for everybody. And if you are blessed by these, to learn one or two things, subscribe button, notification too, and share with someone. Namaste.